All right, no victory horns, but we got the victory drums, and they sound for Dricus du Plessis and Zhang Weili, and still in both title fights, and both champions win in absolute dominant fashion. Zhang Weili dominates Tatiana Suarez, winning 4 of the 5 rounds, even getting a 10-8, and Dricus du Plessis 50-45, 50-45, 49-40 over Sean Strickland to retain the middleweight championship of the world. As we welcome you to our UFC 312 post-fight show here on MMAfighting.com. I am Mike Heck. That is Jed Meshew sitting right next to me here in Command Center 4.0.
This is Nelson Mandela, hero, king, champion.
And there you go. Congratulations, I guess, is in order to everybody. Good night, everybody. But all right, Jed, we watch it in real time. We just wrapped up the watch party. We do have the press conference stream going on as well. So you can actually have like 2 screens going on at once with reactions and everything. But just your thoughts on the pay-per-view in general. Was this what you expected at the end of it? Over expectations, under expectations, or was this exactly what you thought this would be?
It was pretty much exactly what I thought. I said all week. Not all of it. Like, I got some predictions wrong, but fights played out like I thought. If the whole argument for this card was that the top 2 fights are meaningful, they are worth your time. And I believe that to be true. I believe that to be true on paper. It's hard to argue that they are not. It is the champion versus the #1 contender in each weight class. And even if maybe they were not as thrilling, as spectacular as other fights you may get, we got a tremendous performance from Dricus du Plessis in the main event. I thought it was the best he's ever looked. Put to rest all doubts about the first fight, whether he deserved to be the champion, et cetera, et cetera. We got to see growth development. It was, I think most people thought it wouldn't be that fun anyway, because the first was a good fight, but it wasn't a fight of the year or anything. And we got something as substantially similar. Co-main event, I was very wrong in my prediction because I thought Tatiana Suarez was going to have a great night, but I was pretty clear on this fight probably wouldn't be that dynamic. Either Suarez gets takedowns or she doesn't. And if she doesn't, she loses. She didn't, and she lost. I did not know that Zhang would look so good. And so I am, slightly elevated, impressed by how dominant Zhang looked against a person who I thought was frankly going to be the toughest test for outside of Rose Namajunas. And that was the selling point on the card. The other main card fights, we'll talk about them. Certainly, if you guys ask about them when we do the Q&A at the end, we'll probably talk more about them, but they were what they were, like they were not the point to come. This was a very boxing style of you're paying for the 2 big ones. If you paid the money, you knew what you were getting into. And so I think you got your money's worth. If you randomly bought this for the first time and you had no idea what you're getting into, I'm sorry, that's probably not what you wanted. But I think that this is about the card you should have expected and delivered on the expectations to me.
We have bonuses.
Bonuses. Okay. Let's play the bonus game because I don't know them. Fight of the night. I am going to give it to Crute and Bellato.
No.
So then it must have gone to Cody Steele and Rong Zhu.
Correct.
Okay. That's also fine. I think I would have favored Crute and Bellato. I thought that fight was really fun, but nothing wrong with giving it to Rong Zhu and Cody Steele for Fight of the Night. Performance bonuses. I would be pretty surprised if Taliesin Teixeira didn't get one. And Quillen, he got it in 10 seconds or whatever. Even though I do think that was a bad stoppage, they were both finishes in the first 30 seconds of the fight. It feels like those just get bonuses.
Yep.
So
there you go.
Easy enough.
There are your bonuses.
Don't have any issues with those. Pretty straightforward bonuses today.
Yeah, completely agree. DDP just continues to get better and better. This was not a competitive fight at all. Strickland had moments, I think, in the first round where like things were close, and I think it looked very similar to the first fight where Strickland would land some jabs, but DDP would just hit him harder. And then DDP just continued to make adjustments. He kept going to the body over and over again.
Really
eventually, he just shattered the face of Sean Strickland. Like, it was just kind of tough scene. So we know where DDP is going, right? We know exactly where he's going. He's going to fight Hamza Chimaev next, and that is going to be one of the biggest fights of the year for the UFC, unquestionably. So I guess the biggest question I have for you right now is, where does Sean Strickland go? He's gotten the shot at Israel Adesanya, became the champion, lost to DDP in a super close fight. This one, not close at all. No controversy, no nothing. There's nothing you could say about this at all. That is just not like DDP just kind of put the boots to Sean Strickland for 25 minutes. Where does Sean Strickland go from here? Are we doing Apex main events again? Is he main card fighter on a pay-per-view? Is he fighting Adesanya a second time?
He's never fighting in the Apex again, unless he is stepping in on short notice to be that guy because he's a company man. Sean Strickland is popular. He's popular all week. Australia loves him. Like, he is a popular dude. He is main eventing fight nights. He is going on the road. He is a main card pay-per-view fighter. The feature bout for that, maybe even a co-main event. I know that his fights do not yield the same result as people probably want, but he is a very, very popular dude. Basically, leading up to the Izzy fight, honestly, he was starting to get that momentum in the Pereira fight, got set back. Then it sort of blossomed in 2023 with that spectacular year. I think there are two options. Either way is eat that Reese's, either of those two ways. It is either you pull the trigger on the Izzy rematch now because you may not get another chance. I think Izzy is very clearly in a precipitous decline for his career. And so if you want to squeeze that lemon, boy, you better squeeze it right now. And I think you can. I think the other one, the one that I would go to, the one that I think makes a little bit more sense and maybe I would say is more likely, you finally do the Robert Whittaker matchup. It's been danced around a bit. They were linked. I don't know if they were ever officially booked against each other. I can't remember if they were or not, but that is a fight that was talked about for some time. It's just the way to go. I strike while the iron is hot on that. If you don't, the Izzy fight is also there.
It's not a bad one. I kind of want to see both of those guys just fight different guys. Like, I know that it's a fresh
I would like
matchup.
to. That's just not how it would work.
Like I think Anthony Hernandez is going to beat Brendan Allen very convincingly in Seattle in 2 weeks. If Fluffy Hernandez does what I think he's going to do, like, he should get a fight like that. Like, he should fight one of those two guys. He won't, but he should, because middleweight is just going to continue to be, and I understand the risks there. Like, you finally get Hernandez in there and he fights Sean Strickland and Sean somehow beats him, or Robert somehow beats him. But I mean, we're just kind of at the point where it's like, we got to move this division along a little bit. Like, we got to find different challengers for DDP right now. And if we match up Strickland and Whittaker, like, we're not creating new challengers, right? And this division is at a point where DDP has beat all of these guys already. He finished Whittaker. He finished Adesanya. Beat Sean Strickland twice. He's fighting Khamzat Chimaev. Beats Khamzat Chimaev. Like, is he just done at middleweight? Like, what are we doing here?
Imavov and Baralho, but he may also
one of those two guys.
I mean, Imavov deserves a title fight, no doubt. And if they do, there's certainly been some speculation from fans that makes a lot of sense to just do Imavov Baralho for the winner of Khamzat DDP. I don't hate that if they end up doing it, and that would be an ironclad bulletproof title contender. I think because you have young dudes who are like a new crop of contenders who are there, I am less opposed than I normally would be to doing, let's recycle the same 6 dudes in a round robin, because I am usually super with you on that. This one, we've just wanted the Strickland fight for a while, the Strickland Whittaker fight for a while. Just give us that one. But I totally get it too. Like, you do kind of want, that's why I think the Izzy is strictly, you're doing it because this is your only real chance to do it. Because otherwise, I think Izzy should have to be defending against somebody further back, and that probably doesn't go very well for him given how his career is looking right now. Maybe that's wrong. Maybe he puts it together, but I think we will get Whittaker. I think that is what I would do if I had the choice as well. And because there are just other guys who don't need the win to get there, that like in other divisions, sometimes they just need the big name. Nasruddin Imavov already got the big name. He's good. Like, he can run right into a title fight right now. Baralho getting that fight would be great for him. But if he just gets the Imavov fight, then he's already there too. So I think you can suffer that.
Yeah. We'll see what happens with both those guys. I can't wait for DDP versus freaking Khamzat Chimaev. That is just going to be a wild ass fight. And we'll continue on. Zhang Weili, she's the best women's fighter in the planet right now. She's one of the 5 best women's fighters of all time. Talked about this heading in. She should be she won't be, because I've seen some of the rankings. We have some hipster panelists out there. Let's just say that. There are certain fighters that are ranked way higher on this women's pound for pound list than they should be, but you vote for who you want to vote for. She should be the close to unanimous number one pound for pound fighter after this performance.
She may end up being it. I could totally see everybody coming around. I do not currently have her. I'll do my rankings update tonight or tomorrow morning, as we do after pay-per-view events. And my belief is that I will move Zhang to number one. I'm not set. I want to look things over a little more, not be hasty, but there was just an unbelievable performance from her this evening. Again, against the person I picked, Tatiana, to win. I thought Tatiana would be a very tough stylistic matchup for, based on what we've seen from Zhang sort of historically. And it was not. The first round was certainly very competitive, touch and go there. And then it was one-way traffic. There, she just had nothing to offer after that first round for Zhang. And given it is still weird with Rose, makes everything weird, because Rose at her peak is amazing, but also has some really low moments in her career. And so the 2 losses to Rose is a hard thing to parse and swallow. But other than that, she has been perfect and spectacular. And so I think she will end up being my number one pound for pound fighter.
Yeah, the Rose one's kind of weird because she got kind of flash KO'd. And the second fight was like super duper close. There's a lot of people who thought Zhang won the second fight. I believe I scored the second fight for Zhang. It just didn't go that way. But since those 2 losses, man, she has just worked on the things she's needed to work on. She has honed her craft in so many different ways. And go back to the watch party and watch you and I's reaction to Zhang just walking out to the octagon.
That was when I knew it was cooked.
Yep, that's what we knew.
I was like, oh, sweet. All of the bad things are happening right now.
I actually thought Zhang won the first round. Like, I know that's kind of a hot take, and I know there was some bias going on because I had a plus money bet on Zhang Weili. Shout out to Zhang. But again, like, Tatiana landed the takedown. She had some control time. She did nothing. I thought we were going to get a stand-up. Zhang was at least landing some strikes off of her back. Ended up the round on top, landed some strikes, at least stole the momentum, but I'm okay with 49-46. It seems to be the score everybody had.
The score just didn't matter.
I loved a 10-8 being thrown in there, honestly.
I think the 10-8 was totally justifiable. The score just didn't matter. It's one of those fights where you could have stopped scoring because it obviously was not going to come into play pretty early on. One fighter won, and however you want to get to that number, fine. It was a clear dominant performance from arguably the best pound for pound fighter in the world. And you said it already. I pitched it all this week, basically. I thought if Zhang won this fight, she would surpass Joanna Jędrzejczyk as the greatest strawweight in history, take Joanna's spot in the top 5 greatest female fighters in MMA history. I think that she has done that now. And it will depend what she does, right? Like, Zhang has talked a lot about going up to 125. We'll see if she does that. There's the Virna is booked, which is weird. I don't know why they did that. Because Virna would make sense as an obvious title challenge. She deserves a shot. She deserves her crack. If she sticks around and says, hey, I'll do one more while I wait for Valentina and Manon to settle up, then I think it will be unquestionable. But she looked amazing and is clearly still in the prime of her career. I don't know how long that will last. She's 35. At some point, Father Time comes for us. But she can stack a few more wins. If she does go get a second belt, that she really climbs the list of greatest female fighters we have ever seen.
Was that her last fight at 115?
I do not think so.
You don't think so?
I think Manon has to get the next title shot at Valentina. And
but if that happens in May,
it's a long time out. And I think that they will want her to run one because, like, there's just no risk to her fighting Virna. She's going to kill Virna. So, like, you just kill Virna and then set that up for down the road. If she chooses, if she says, I'm just out, I don't want to do this anymore, I'll vacate, then it will be. But I think that they will come to her and say, hey, do one more, fight Virna. It's the last person you haven't fought. I mean, not the last. She could fight Mackenzie Dern or whatever, but no. And honestly, hell, if Dern's coming off win, maybe they just say, screw it. Mackenzie Dern is availability is the best ability. We say it all the time, Mike.
Yep.
So Mackenzie Dern, really, she can kill whoever it is. She's going to beat the pants off whoever gets in there with her. And then that gives it time to set up because you have to let Manon fight Valentina. Like that, Manon has done everything that could possibly be asked to earn it. She gets the shot. like we talked about on the watch party, I think that probably will end up. We're not reporting shit. Don't put it in the paper that I reported this. It would make a ton of sense for Valentina Manon to happen in the Montreal card in May. I think that is what will happen. And so I think Zhang will get one more at 125 before making the move up.
So we are not watching the press conference right
Certainly
now.
not. We're
not watching
this.
it. We saw a message in our Slack channel.
Oh, terrific.
From one of our...
I didn't see the message, so I'm excited to find
out. All I see, I'm not going to reveal names. All it says is, Manon Fiorot is going to cry herself to sleep tonight. I respond, what happened? The response, Dana White basically said he's going to make Zhang Weili versus Valentina next.
That's dumb as shit, dude. That's so frustrating.
That would be tough scenes, man.
It's just so Manon could not have done anything more. She beat everybody. She just kept saying yes. She kept winning fights, even fights she wasn't supposed to win. She had to wait for a year for them to finally do Grasso Shevchenko 3 just so they could do it at Sphere. And then they're just like not booking her to do this. Like, it would be so disrespectful. Like, I get it. You guys really want to mash your action figures together and play with your toys. There is a clearly discerning contender at flyweight. There is a clearly discerning deserving contender at strawweight. Just let them fight each other. And then after that, the winners can fight. It seems simple enough.
That'd be tough for Manon, man.
That would be such a brutal outcome for her.
What is she gonna do? Fight Natty Ice? Like, she
shouldn't fight anyone. She did everything necessary to get a title fight. It would be absurd for them to pass her over.
We'll see. Last question about this fight, and then we'll, couple quick hits, and then we'll go to the peeps. We've talked about Tatiana Suarez being the uncrowned champion for years.
That was wrong.
If you had to guess, is Tatiana Suarez ever going to win UFC gold after what you saw tonight?
I'll still say yes, because strawweight's a garbo division, and certainly if Zhang, it's a bad division. It's the same people it was 5 years ago, actually, without a few. Joanna and Rose have left or whatever. And so, especially based on those comments, if Zhang is going to get the opportunity to bounce, then I guess if she loses to Shevchenko, then she comes back down and then Tatiana's screwed. But if she goes and wins, I wouldn't bet the house or feel confident, but Zhang also just seems like she is done. Like, her comments seem like she doesn't really want to be here that much more for strawweight. So I'll say yes, but there's not a lot of confidence in that. And it's not yes because she'll beat Zhang in the rematch. It's yes because Zhang won't be in the picture, and who the hell is going to beat her in this weight class right now?
Yeah, it's what Zhang Weili against Werner Jandiroba betting odds? -300.
Higher? Oh no, it's much higher. After that performance, it's much higher.
Yeah, I don't think that
-550 probably. It's a lot.
Yeah, I don't think that fight's competitive.
I do not think it is.
We saw the Yan Zhangnan fight already. Yan gave her the best she could, and even still, that was not enough. Zhang still dominated her, almost finished her multiple times. I just don't think she needs to do anything else at 115. Verna, sure. If you just need a stay busy fight, sure. But there's just not much for her to do. I kind of want to see her just go to 125. If you want to do the thing where she has to have the belt, that's fine. I honestly don't think that matters at all anymore. Just go ahead and saying, just go ahead and just being a 2-division champion, no matter how it happens. It's not as sexy anymore anyways. You know what I mean? It doesn't have the same appeal. No one was like, oh, John Jones winning a second belt was less cool because he wasn't the light heavyweight champion. It was just okay, now he went up to a new division and won the belt. I don't think it matters.
I think they're going to want it. They want to put 2 belts on the poster. They want to make it look better. John had left the UFC for 4 years or whatever, so it's a little different. I think that they'll just want to do it. My stance on this is well documented. I'm sure she doesn't have anything else to do. I just want to see champions reign over weight classes, because that's how you establish greatness. That is historically all of the greatest champions in the history of this sport. They just have a whole bunch of title defenses. And credit to Zhang, I do believe she is the greatest strawweight champion in history at this point. She has 4 title defenses. That's not in the ballpark of basically all the other elite. fighters. It's behind Joanna in total, and it's certainly behind Joanna in consecutive because one of those defenses is split by the Rose. So I would love to see her stick around and do it because people don't appreciate that enough. I get it. To me, the best thing you can do is stick around, lord over a weight class for years on end, beat everybody who dares come into your zone. And she does have, like, I would pick her to beat Virna, very obvious. I'd pick her to beat Mackenzie Dern, very obviously. She hadn't fought him yet. Maybe some things happen. Weird shit happens in this sport. There's a reason we don't say, well, they would have won. You got to fight the fights because most people, betting wise, thought Umar was going to walk through Merab. Hand up, I was one of them. And they thought it's not what happened. So I would like to see her do it. I get her not wanting to. Like I said, I'm still betting we get at least one more before they do it, but I'm less confident with Dana just telling me no, basically.
It's a contract year, man. They're going to try to make the biggest fights that they can as quickly as possible. So we'll see. It would suck for Manon if she gets passed over, but it wouldn't shock me. We've seen far more egregious things than this, but it would suck. It would suck for Manon Fiorot. Absolutely. Without question. It would
just be so brutal for her.
All right. So we have the top two storylines. We know what they are. It's Dricus du Plessis. It's Zhang Weili. What's number 3?
That's a really good question, dude. That's a really good question. So I think the answer is, and this is a bit of a cop-out, I think the answer is Tatiana Suarez is the next biggest thing because so much was made about her for so long. And we saw it on the watch party. People were in the comments. I don't think this is a just or true thing because I don't think the story of that fight should be Tatiana Suarez was overrated or trash or didn't deserve it. I think the story should be Zhang Weili is an incredible fighter, one of the very best we've ever seen, and looked unbelievable. But I do think the story is going to be, I think that the next thing people will talk, after they talk Dricus, Weili, they will talk, okay, what the Tatiana Suarez just shouldn't have been here. Her career is never going to be, she is a what if, what could have happened back in the day. Now she'll never get there. Biggest moment of her career and laid an egg. Again, I don't think she laid an egg. I think Zhang forced her to lay an egg, but I think I know where you're going to go with this. I just can't imagine people are really going to be talking that much about this when they could instead be hating on Tatiana Suarez.
Yeah. Again, and it's the way I saw it, because the way I saw the fight from the beginning. This is the greatness of Zhang Weili. It's not because Tatiana Suarez is a bad fighter. It's because Zhang is really, really good. And
100%.
She proved it. Like, again, it's just, there are levels to this game. And I know it's such a cliche thing to say, but there are levels to this game. And Tatiana's beat some good fighters along the way. And who knows, if she didn't get hurt and this fight happened in 2019 or whatever, it might have looked different. Who the hell knows? But it happened tonight. And this was by far the toughest fight of Tatiana Suarez's career. Like, without question. This is like two levels up from all the opponents she faced. And I know Jessica Andrade is there, but it's not the same Jessica Andrade.
That's old Jessica Andrade.
Yeah, that's old. That's older Jessica Andrade. So, yeah, Zhang is just so good, man. Like, Tatiana had a decent first round. She got a lot of control time. She
immediately got the takedown, which
immediately.
Was like, as soon as she did that, I was like, okay, maybe we're going. And then that was the last takedown she got.
Yeah,
she got it instantaneously, the very first one, and then never got one again.
Yeah, Weili is just super duper good. She gave Tatiana the respect. She knew what she needed to do. She spent a lot of her training camp working on wrestling and defensive wrestling and just kind of being a hoss. And she showed all of it. So incredible stuff. Incredible performance. My bronze medal storyline is Alexander Topuria. Like, we wanted to see what this kid could do. Like, did it blow the doors off everybody? No. Did he go out there and finish? No. But he did everything he said he was going to do. He was going to go in there. He was going to test the theory that, if I get taken, he's going to take me to deep waters, all that. I thought he showed flashes of brilliance in the fight, dropped Colby Thickness, hurt him real bad, made Colby real uncomfortable, started ripping to the body. The belly to back suplex was nasty. And then the round where Colby Thickness said, this is what I'm going to take him into deep water in round 3, Topuria just tackled him and controlled him and manhandled him in round 3. Like, this is just the beginning of I don't know if we're going to see like a meteoric rise like his brother, but dude impressed me, man. Like,
Look good.
Yeah, like Ilya's debut was against Yusuf Zalal. He won clearly. It wasn't like we weren't talking about Ilya Topuria after he beat Yusuf Zalal like, oh, this dude's gonna be the next featherweight champion. That was the next fight. So from what I saw, pretty darn good debut.
It was good. I had no expectations. Talked about this a lot this week. Like, we just couldn't. I don't think it would be reasonable to have expectations based on his career. He beat a bunch of nobodies and looked great doing it. And so, but he looked amazing there. I also want to change my answer, Mike, because the third thing that people will be talking about, and this is super cop out, but it's actually that the announcement we got during the broadcast of the Hall of Fame, a fight being inducted into the Hall of Fame this year, Israel Adesanya versus Kelvin Gastelum, UFC 236 in Atlanta, Georgia. I was at that one. Legitimately one of the 3 best sporting events I've ever been to live. One of the 5 best fights I've ever seen. Though I'm willing to say maybe that's because I was there and so I have a different reaction to it as opposed to watching at home. But still, one of the 10 best fights. I think, no doubt about it. I think that is probably the thing. Though people do love a famous name. Alexander Topuria obviously has a very famous name, but I think give me the Hall of Fame induction for Israel Adesanya, even if it's in the fight wing.
Yeah, very cool. We just saw a clip. We have the UFC post fight show
It
on in the
reminded
background,
me.
and they showed Izzy FaceTiming Kelvin Gastelum and them sharing the moment and all that, and hoping Kelvin will be there in June for the ceremony, but Kelvin's about to get into a fist fight with Joe Pyfer in Mexico City, which that one might not go very well for him, but who the hell knows?
I don't know. I actually think that could go really well for him.
Really?
Joe Pyfer, his game is functionally entirely hitting people really hard, and Kelvin Gastelum can't die. So
that's a good point.
It was like as far as things go, it's pretty decent.
But we saw what Sean Brady did to Kelvin Gastelum.
Well, Sean Brady
annihilated him.
Very good at a different kind of fighting.
I mean, Sean Brady and Joe Pyfer train together all the time. So
I don't think it's going to be the same, but we'll see.
Okay. We'll see. We shall see. All right. Let's go to the piece. You do have a couple of super chats. Let's get to those first.
I do. Before we get to that, I do also just want to shout out because it was the feature bout. It was a very silly feature bout to put a UFC debutant against a guy who's like 1-3 in the promotion in the last 4 fights. Tyson Teixeira just blew the doors right on off of Justin Tafa, and he is 26 and a true heavyweight, and I'm genuinely interested. Like, heavyweight, a heavyweight prospect, Mike, is the rarest thing in this sport. It is rarer than gold. It is rarer than, frankly, a Tatiana Suarez fight is a heavyweight, and we have one. So that's the other guy. That's the low-key hero of the night to me.
The also the low-key hero is, I don't know if it's Jimmy Crute or Rodolfo Bellato. It's probably both of them. You want to know why? Because tomorrow when we do on to the next one, we don't have to match make for either of them. We could just skip over that. Makes the show.
I didn't even think of that. Shorter. What a hero move for y'all.
Terrific.
Run it back.
And neither of them lost. It's all good.
Nobody's a loser.
It's all
they didn't
good.
win fight of the night, which is a shame for them, but that's okay.
All right. Matthew Ravelli, thank you. Most meaningful win for anyone tonight was Weili, in my opinion. Number 1 pound for pound active women's MMA fighter. A lot of people were sleeping on her. Mostly Jed. He doesn't know poop.
Okay. I was wrong. Like, I predicted Tatiana to win. And that was not because I thought Weili sucks, by the way. I just thought Tatiana was going to win. But she did not. Not even remotely.
No.
Fight was not close.
And we knew the death stare.
Also, so we're clear, when you say that I'm sleeping on her, I'm fairly confident I was the person in this space, not just our website. I haven't heard anybody else talking about this being the most meaningful win and fight because she would be the greatest, one of the 5 greatest fighters of all time. That was me. So I'm not sleeping that much.
There you go. Spencer, Man in the Hat, Chuck M compared UFC to the Attitude Era in WWE right now. A lot of issues with what Sean and others say, but still find them to be interesting characters. Thoughts on that comparison?
I mean, this is much more your bailiwick. My understanding of the Attitude Era is that everybody liked it. I don't particularly care for the free speech era. Part parts of things, but I don't know if people didn't like the Attitude Era. Everybody talks about it as if it was the greatest thing that ever happened in pro wrestling. So
it saved wrestling, like no doubt about it.
I don't think this is saving MMA at all.
No.
So if that's the comparison, but
yeah, but we also didn't have like Stone Cold Steve Austin wasn't cutting promos like Sean Strickland is cutting promos. He would say ass. Like that was like, wow.
Well, the 90s were different.
And he would fight his boss. Like that's, I mean, and there was the Godfather and the Hose.
I'm just certain that not all of it was great because nothing.
Yeah, it wasn't
anything in history has like problems
it wasn't
or whatever. But my understanding of the Attitude Era is that it is fundamentally different from outright bigotry.
It was yeah, there was not a ton of that. It was Crash TV. It was the Jerry Springer show, but with pro wrestling. That's what it was. But it was not anything you could maintain for long periods of time. So, I mean, I guess I kind of get it, but we're also at a point right now where literally the UFC can do no wrong. Like if Sean Strickland didn't come out and say the thing Sean Strickland says, this doesn't affect the UFC's bottom line at all. Like, you think Sean Strickland's media day sold one extra pay-per-view? No, it didn't sell one pay-per-view.
On his live chat this week, Luke Thomas had a interesting take that I'm not sure I agree with entirely. I started to think about it, but then other shit got in the way. His position is that really the free speech position from the UFC is it just provides them the most latitude and leeway for their business. Because if they had to police somebody, then maybe that affects the fight down the line. Maybe, well, now a week before a title fight, Sean Strickland says something terrible in Australia, and now we got to pull him out. And so if we just say it all goes, we don't have to care if the almighty dollar is the thing in charge. I'm not entirely sure that's true, but I don't think it's wrong either. And that this is not, whereas the Attitude Era, to my understanding, was a concerted effort to push boundaries. I think this is not an effort to push boundaries promotionally. This is them just saying, I do not want the responsibility of managing any of this shit.
Yeah. And I also think to some extent, and I'm not saying this is like right or wrong, or that's just how he does things, but I think there's a part of Dana White and his ego that loves getting shout outs from the Tucker Carlsons and all them in the world on Twitter. Allowing this.
I was going to go to your other longstanding Dana White opinion, which I actually do think is probably more of it. I think Dana found himself in a position and has dug his heels in.
Yeah.
Like, I think reasonably Dana actually does know that there should be a consequence for Bryce Mitchell saying something like that.
100%.
But instead he's like, I refuse to walk back a position. I'm in this room. I'm going to die on this hill.
I am curious to see if this was the 79th ranked featherweight, if it would be the same.
I mean, that's why I thought there would be something, because who gives a shit about Bryce Mitchell? He's 14 or whatever, but it's featherweight. It's a division with plenty of good people. They let Jairzinho.
He was also at Trump's inauguration too, though.
Yeah, but
they're running around the same circles. Could be just a little bit of a loyalty play. Could be a favor. Could have been a favor too.
Maybe. I honestly think it is. I think the simplest explanation to me is that Dana does not want the responsibility of having to do it, and that part of it is him just being stubborn of, you guys really want me to do this, and I'm not going to. I'm not going to, because I refuse to be controlled. Which is, he can do. He's in charge.
It will also be interesting. It'll also be interesting to see how the TV deal goes, and if the TV partners will allow.
I don't know, man.
This ESPN.
Part of me would say that there could, but ESPN is a Disney-owned company, and they have not given one shit, which has baffled me. But they sure haven't.
Yeah, because they've made them money.
Yeah, they don't care. That's the thing. Whoever goes, they go to Netflix. I don't think Netflix is going to police them. Maybe somebody ultimately will, but no.
All right. RS40. Nobody will talk about it. Shout out to Gabriel Santos. Dude looked good. I thought he beat Lerone Murphy in his debut.
Hey, he looked great tonight. You are stone correct, RS40. Ain't nobody going to talk about it. But overcame getting dropped in that first round. Head kick right upside the dome piece. Threatened with a triangle, arguably won that round. I don't think he did, but clearly won the next two. So yeah, great performance from him.
Spencer, enjoyed all your thoughts on Cruz retiring. Faber trio legendary. Still convinced Faber won the second and deserved a UFC championship. Is the winner of Chimaev DDP a top 5 pay-per-view star?
Maybe just because they don't have shit for pay-per-view stars anymore. Like right now, it's ostensibly, I'll say Connor, but Connor don't fight. So if you remove Connor and his non-fighting ass from it, Jones, Pereira,
Islam, maybe?
I say maybe. I was gonna say maybe Izzy just as a residual.
Yeah.
Like from being famous. I don't think Islam, but maybe Islam.
I think Islam draws
like
more
Islam,
than we think.
Maybe. I think Topuria is on his way there. I know that Sean O'Malley is not really nearly as big a pay-per-view star. He's a star in other ways. Social, he is a monster and stuff, but based on all the reports, all the stuff I've heard, his pay-per-view numbers are not like much bigger than you would expect from anybody. So possibly, I do think DDP is on the cusp of being as big of a relative star as you can in the sport right now. The UFC has made a very concerted effort to remove stardom. The star is the letter, the star is the brand. You can be a star within the confines of their overall structure, but they don't want anybody to be bigger than the business. And there weren't ever that many people who could threaten that anyway. But really, that's not how it goes now. I think he is pretty close because Sean Strickland is popular, Izzy is popular, Robert Whittaker is popular. Like these are all of his wins are meaningful wins over big names. He is charismatic, whether you like him or not. I think he is super good on the mic. I think he is as close as you can get to kind of breaking out into that 600K buy thing. I don't think he's there yet. Maybe the Hamzat gets him there, like because Hamzat is so popular. That fight will get pushed to the moon. Maybe that is the fight that elevates the winner of that to that sort of tier of star.
Yeah. I think the first thing you said was correct. There are no pay-per-view stars.
Yeah,
there's
the thing is there are, but the term is different. A pay-per-view star used to be somebody who could sell 800 to 1 million. Now it's every UFC pay-per-view does 350. If you can sell 5, you are a star.
Yeah.
Or you can sell a little bit over the average.
Yep. And it's just the UFC, those 3 letters, and Dana White are the stars. Dana's happy to be the face. He loves it. He loves being a celebrity. Just absolutely loves it. And he's very good at it. In today's society, he's tremendously good at it. So it's just it's a weird time in the promotion. That's for sure.
Very weird. Definitely. And it's entirely anecdotal. It does feel like there are fewer stars than I've ever remember being around. Fewer that people know outside of our bubble.
Take a few more. Topuria versus Vinicius Oliveira. Winner gets to fight Umar. That's way too quick.
Yeah, that's a terrible idea. I mean, it's kind of a fun idea as far as like if you're just looking at his name, he has to fight other people. Also, I mean, I guess maybe Lokdag's a psychopath. He might take it, but Lokdag deserves better given what he's done.
Lokdag deserves a ranked fighter.
Yeah, given what he's done. So, look, we don't have to rush. He's like 28 or something. He's not old. We don't have to rush everybody. We can, I promise y'all, instant gratification is almost never the correct way in any walk of life. Certainly not in fighting.
Do you favor Zhang in the Shevchenko fight?
I don't. But again, I was super wrong about Zhang in this fight. I think Shevchenko is much larger than her, and that size matters. I think Zhang is a big strawweight and clearly a physical specimen. I think Shevchenko spent much of her career at bantamweight, and that is a huge difference. I also think Zhang would really, really have a hard time landing on her on the striking. Not impossible, but Shevchenko's very good at measuring distance, keeping you away, and she can use that size advantage. And then when they get in close, I think she wins those just by outweighing her by 10, 15 pounds. But I'm not opposed to that fight because it's a bad fight. I'm very interested in that fight. I'm opposed to that fight because there are other fights that should happen before that fight happens.
Why didn't Dana praise DDP and promote DDP versus Chimaev? All he did was praise how professional Strickland was. I didn't see it, so I don't know for sure. But seems kind of a weird stance to not push.
Kind of doesn't matter. We know that that's happening, and they will. That's going to get the full promotional press. So it kind of doesn't like it would always be a little bit better. I think Dana, I don't think that there was a reason. I think Dana was just speaking from his heart of, man, Sean Strickland lost. And given some of the stuff he said recently, as by recently, like 3 days ago, and then he stole the microphone from Daniel Cormier, that could have gone terribly. And instead, it went super well. Like he had a charming post fight speech, credited DDP, gave a lot of love to the crowd. So I think that that's him just speaking from the heart because he does not have to promote that fight now. That fight's gonna get the full Monty when it comes. Like I said, I think it's coming International Fight Week, and I think that they are going to give it a big press.
Jake, how good can Prado be? Super young, might be in the wrong weight class, but what do you think after that fight?
I've liked Prado since he joined up. I picked him in this fight. I knew that he could lose, but I do think he is in the wrong weight class. I think he should be a lightweight. He's 22, and he doesn't have that many ideas. He's got some skills, but it's like he's just super young. He probably would be better served not being in the UFC right now, frankly, and just developing his game out more. But he is fun. Every time he steps in the cage, he is fun. I think he has a potential to be more than just a fun fighter, but at a baseline, he's going to be a good time.
Interesting back-to-backs here from Joseph Bosa. If we get Valentina versus Weili, does it prove that Dana is desperate in a year where their contract with UFC is up? What would be crazy dumb fights we get this year with the contract up? I don't know.
I mean, I don't know that it proves it. I do think it would speak to them wanting to do bigger fights. Trying to make the biggest fights they can. I don't remember what the second part of that was. So,
yeah, like other crazy dumb fights we could get this year.
I mean, I don't
maybe Pereira and Jones, but
I mean, really, the big one is it will speak more to me if they do Islam versus Ilya, like next, then that would speak to me. Like, because there's been some rumors if they skip over Volk,
Ilya will not be the featherweight champion if that fight happens.
Saying, yeah, if they skip over Volk and Diego Lopez and freaking Movsar, who all deserve their shot to just make that happen and force Islam to fight another featherweight, that to me would be them just like that would be a clear sign of them just selling out to try and make headlines because people will be interested in that. That fight is the fact that so many people want that fight is absolutely ludicrous to me. It is unhinged behavior. Like, I want to see that fight. Why should Islam Makhachev have to take that fight? That is no upside for him in that fight. He's a top pound fight in the world, and the knock on his career is, well, he fought a featherweight twice, and then two dudes who used to compete at featherweight, one of whom is on the door to retirement. Like, it's just, you should not book that by any means when he has three dudes that he should fight first at featherweight.
Yep.
So if they do that, that will speak more than this one to me.
I mean, this would be like Islam's choice, right? Like if Islam asks for it.
If Islam asks for it, then
but Topuria
change it.
Topuria needs to be stripped of the title if he does this.
I would agree.
Or needs to, or
also, Islam has been very vocal of saying, no, I do not want to fight another featherweight. Yeah. I would like to fight up if I am going to do something like that. I think it's much more explicable to say Zhang has been a great fighter for them. They respect what she's accomplished. They want to see her get a shot at it. I think that's a more obvious answer to me.
The follow-up was, does Weili need to move up to fight for legacy, or is this about getting Valentina an easy defense? That's crazy.
I don't think either of those are true.
Yeah, that's
I don't think it's an easy defense. I will pick Valentina to win. I would not say it's easy.
No.
I do not think Weili needs to move up to fight for legacy because, like, when y'all say that, and I'm not saying you were saying this person who has this, but when people say that statement, you are presuming victory. It is not, she's got to go up to fight because then she can win and be a 2-division champion. That can happen, and that is great for your legacy. If you lose, it don't mean jack shit, because how is Alexander Volkanovski's legacy benefited by losing twice to Islam? It is not. It is a net negative for him because he lost one of those. He got knocked out, and then he got greased up in his very next fight against Topuria. Like, it is only good for your legacy if you go up and win. Whereas if you defend your belt over and over and over again, I say it so many times, that ages better. There have been like 10 champions. I think the number now is 9 2-division champions there have been 5 champions who have defended a belt more than 8 times. It is an impossible thing to do. Your legacy is better served by that, because it's also more likely that it is far more likely that Zhang Weili can beat Mackenzie Dern and Vina Jandiroba and whoever the hell else they drag up at 115 and have an unimpeachable run that exists with the greatest ever than it is that she bumps up and beats, for my money, the second greatest female fighter of all time, who also weighs 10 pounds more than her. She could do it. If I'm telling her, like, you should probably just fight these women you're going to kill.
Sure. I mean, but if she's already cemented the greatest strawweight of all time, then
yeah, but it ain't on that. I mean, she has it, but like that is beatable. Because the thing now is, it's not to get to it. Now it's to set you apart from the next people come. Because that's my case for Islam. Why I think Islam should stay at lightweight. If he is not the greatest lightweight of all time, and I don't quite think he is, but he's certainly in the conversation. If he gets 2 more title defenses, I would bet a lot of money I will never see anybody put 6 title defenses up at 155 the rest of my life. Like, he could be untouchable if he just runs it, and instead of wanting to do other things. But nobody thinks that way, because that's not where we live in this sport anymore.
All right, I'll take a couple more super chats. We got to get out of here because we still got a million things to do on the back end of all this. Chase, if Dana had fighters hitting pregnant people with cars in the year 2025, would he even do anything, or are they truly hands off these days?
I do not remotely think that he would do anything.
I don't think he can.
I mean, he can. They still technically have an athlete code of conduct policy, but they just don't enforce it.
Certainly. But after the whole, and look, I don't want to get into the whole, who did what on New Year's Eve. But if Dana wasn't punished, there's no way you can punish a fighter for pretty much anything unless you straight up kill a person.
Yeah. And like, outside of somebody going to federal prison, I do not think that they will ever inflict an enforcement until someone makes them, until the outcry is there. It's just not going to happen. So, and frankly, we can even be honest about this. There were plenty of people at the time argued John Jones should not have been stripped. I understand that argument. I'm not entirely sure I agree with it, but I do, like, there is a credible argument of, okay, he got into a traffic accident. It is very buzzworthy to say he hit a pregnant woman and then fled the scene. It's not like he was hunting her down in the car. Pregnant lady, crash, run away. Like, he got in a car accident and fled the scene, which is bad. I'm not defending the actions, but that makes it sound worse when you frame it in that way. And there is a reasonable argument to say, I'm not sure we should strip champions for fleeing for a misdemeanor crime. And people were making that argument at the time. So I think there's just zero chance anything would happen now.
G-Frame, do you guys think the Tafas will end up on the same GFL team?
I mean, no, because they are not going to hold an event. That would be a terrific gimmick if they did. If the expansion team, the New Zealand Breakers or whatever they would be, and the Tafas were the heavies. But GFL is not holding an event. So, no, I do not think so.
And let me also just add on to things. The Tafas will be employed with the UFC for as long as they
might as well.
1, cheap labor. 2, they either get or get got real good. They get got and they get.
They don't make the judges work all that often. So
like Justin Tafa was there for one reason and one reason only. Justin Tafa wasn't there to win tonight. Justin Tafa was there to lose in the exact way he lost tonight, to get over a Contender Series guy in the exact way he lost tonight. And guess what? His next fight will be against another heavyweight who will probably do the same thing to him. So
probably, or he'll kill him, and that'll be fine too.
And that's fine.
Justin Tafa, right? I know you're watching. I know that you love all the MMA fighting content, which obviously it's great content. We're the best.
Great website.
It's a terrific website. But Justin, this one's for you. I want you to look me right here. Get rid of the damn beard. Your mustache is majestic, and you are hiding it with the rest of the facial hair. Bring that down, full bar, strong caterpillar, and you will win fights. All of the highlights they showed of you winning in your package before, it was without the beard. You didn't have any of this. You were just all right here. You looked like freaking Ted Lasso, and it was unbelievable. Go back to that look. You'll get back in the win column. I promise you.
Love it. Ryan, why is Dana so focused on trashing Aussie liberal media? Because
I mean, Dana White is deeply not liberal, so I'm going to guess that has a lot to do with it. Dana White is also pretty anti-media. I'm going to guess that has a lot to do with it.
yes, unless you say glowing positive things about Dana and the UFC, he doesn't like you. And that's just it. So he wants people who will not be media, but partners, like the boxing media. He sees what some of the boxing media are like, and he wants that. He wants nothing but glowing reviews. And that's why, even though they're killing it and MMA is getting more popular, it will never be to the level of the NFL, the NBA, or any of those other major sports because of that. So it can't be taken as seriously, unfortunately. Question for you, Jed. Would you rather see the Volk versus Ilya rematch or Volk versus Dustin Poirier just for money as Dustin's last fight?
I would much rather see Volk versus Dustin Poirier. When I say that Ilya Topuria should fight Alexander Volkanovski, that is based on how the sport has operated the last several years. I do not believe Alexander Volkanovski deserves a rematch. I do not believe any champion deserves an immediate rematch unless there was something. It was a bad decision. There was a robbery. I think champions who lose should have to win a fight before they get back there. That has been my position for as many years as I've been on video for this freaking website. I am only saying he needs to fight Volk because that is the fight that they make and have for years at this point. I would much rather Volk say, screw it, Diego Lopez, it's your time. You go fight him. Let me fight Dustin Poirier in a Legends fight up at lightweight. Make a run up here. I can have some fun. That is a fight that I would be super interested to watch. I think it is a fight that is much more meritocratic. Honestly, if you were asking me to pick any fight I could pick for Volk, I think that's the fight. I don't know what other fight I'd be like, I would rather see that fight for Volk. It's like, no, he's old. I want him to do the Legends tour. Dustin Poirier has one fight left. I think it would make a ton of sense for Poirier as he pitched to do Gaethje trilogy in Louisiana. They've done one in Justin's backyard, one in a neutral. They do a closing shot for the trilogy. Absent that, Volk is about as good of a possible retirement fight as I could think of for Poirier. I'm fully on board with that plan. It won't happen, but I would love that to happen.
Max would be good too.
It'd be fine. The fact that Dustin just beat him. Oh, do you mean Max for Volk or Max for Dustin?
Max for Dustin.
Man, the fact Dustin beat him twice. I would still watch it. The two of the 6 most exciting fighters ever at worst. I would certainly watch it, but yeah, man, just give me the Volk fight if we're not doing the Gaethje trilogy. We should really do the Gaethje.
Bull is in Louisiana, so he's been doing a lot of media.
He was on with Jim Rome and basically said the UFC is going to Louisiana. He said it's not official, nothing confirmed, but based on my talks, I believe his phrase was, it seems very likely that I will get to retire in Louisiana. They have not been to New Orleans in like 10 years. Kind of would make sense, honestly. Particularly, they want to do a solid for Dustin. Whoever you put Dustin against would be fine, but I would love the Volk fight as retirement. That would make all the sense in the world to me.
Well, stick with us at MMAfighting.com, and when news breaks about what's next for Volk or Dustin Poirier or Ilya Topuria or anybody, we will let you know about it. Jake Paul. Who knows? All the names.
Could be anybody.
But we're done. We are out of here. You can go watch the rest of the post-fight press conference right now. AK and I live 11 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. On to the next one. Matchmaking suggestions. We'll have some fun. For Jed, I am Mike Heck. Thank you for watching. Good night, everybody.
I told y'all about Ilya. Not Ilya, sorry, DDP. Love y'all.